Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Loud and Clear. This is your boy, the Umpire, and today I'm going to be talking about a very important topic, and I think it's also still very relevant in this day and age. And what I'm going to be discussing might offend some people, but I want you to understand that this is just an opinion piece. This is not me trying to dictate to people how to live their lives. I understand that there are cultures that differ from place to place, and I understand that people see life differently, which everyone has a right to. But this is just me talking from a personal point of view. With that being said, today I want to discuss about Africans mostly. I'm not saying it's an African thing, but I'm just talking from an African perspective. But African mostly having way too many children. Let's jump into it. First of all, I think it's important to understand historically why Africans had so many children. One has to understand that the major occupation back then was farming, and farming is a very physical activity. For you to produce more crops, you need to cultivate more lands, and to cultivate more lands, you need more hands. So the more hands you had working, the more your production increases. So basically, having more children helped you generate more wealth, because the more crops you produce, the more you can sell or feed your family, and so on and so forth. So it was directly linked, having many children was directly linked to wealth generation. But that is no longer the case in 2019 or in more recent years, because we've seen that occupations have evolved, and there are so many Africans, even apart from the educated ones that are working in offices and whatsoever. There are so many Africans that no longer depend directly on farming to generate income, but still are producing way too many children with no substantial source of income to raise those children, and it's a big problem. We can all agree that a child's basic needs are food, shelter, and clothing. And with that being said, there are so many other needs that children have. Education is one of them. A child should be able to get good education to guarantee a better future for himself. And when I say education, I do not necessarily mean going to a school structure to learn how to read and write. There are so many ways of getting education. If you are interested in going into carpentry, you can go learn what carpentry is all about and perfect your trade. That is education as well. If you're interested in becoming a mechanic, so many things. There are so many vocations out there. So not every child is going to end up becoming a doctor or an engineer, and that does not take away from the fact that the child is good at something. That's one thing our African parents need to understand as well, because it looks like every child that doesn't end up becoming a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer is a failed child, and that is far from the truth. Apart from education, there are so many other things that a child should be afforded, and one of them is leisure. A child should be able to play, should be able to have fun, and just be a child and explore and discover life. And we should also allow the child to involve himself in other extracurricular activities. Let's say the child enjoys playing football or music or comedy or acting, whatever it is that the child enjoys. Not only should we allow those things, we should encourage them to discover themselves early and develop skill. So this is one of the things that we as African children, we did not have, because most of us after school, we still had to go out and sell things to raise more money for the family's upkeep. And feeding for so many families was already a problem. How much more talking about leisure or taking dance lessons or taking piano lessons and stuff like that. So those were things that were considered out of the picture for many African children. These are some of the smaller families. So you can imagine, when you take into consideration families that had like 7 children or 10 children, you can imagine how big the problem becomes. And while there are so many children who have beaten the odds, despite these barriers and challenges that life has placed in front of them, they were able to overcome and make something for themselves, which is very, very commendable. But what I'm trying to say here is that this reduces the odds of succeeding in a society like ours in this modern day and age. And what every parent should be aiming for is increasing their child's chances of making it in life, in whatsoever they decide to pursue later on as an adult. There are many examples of, I for one, I've seen many children that were doing good in school. So it wasn't as a result of their grades, it was just as a result of their parents not being able to continue financing their education that they had to drop out of school, and which is quite unfortunate because that robs our society of another intelligent mind that could have gone on to do so many things in life. Maybe the child would have to settle for a low-paying job or whatever the child has to do to survive. So in this day and age, I'm just going to say it outright. I think having way too many children without any sure source of income to raise those children with is selfishness. I know we have this mentality of now God go help us, it's God that gives. No, it's God that gives children, I understand, but at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility for your action. God is not getting your wife pregnant. God is not the one getting you pregnant, so you have to be responsible for your own actions. If you do not have the capacity to take care of 7 children, then why are you making them and having those children come out to this world to struggle and to go through life without being able to enjoy some of the benefits of being a child? Some of us had to become adults at a very, very young age. Some of us didn't really understand what childhood is all about, and some of us we may not realize it, but some of these things that we have gone through are affecting us in our adult lives today. So we, as young Africans that are yet to have children, we need to start to become more responsible with our decisions and with our actions. We cannot just chalk everything up to God and luck. While I'm a believer myself, and I understand that, yes, God favors whoever he wants to favor, but at the end of the day, you have a role as a human being, you have a role as an individual to play in what you obtain in life. So you cannot just chalk everything up to God should help me. You're making irresponsible decisions in your life and you're expecting God to just come through and resolve everything for you. So that's my opinion on this idea of having way too many children, because having too many children is just bringing in more children that are going to go through suffering and poverty, that might not be well fed, will not be afforded opportunities that other children may have to succeed in life, and going through the motions and sometimes becoming hoodlums and whatever. It's a bigger problem than just families. I understand, because we have to understand that our African leaders have failed us in so many ways because of the amenities that they do not provide in our societies. Yes, that I understand, but we as individuals, as families, we have our own responsibilities to take, and some of the ways we can take those responsibilities is to start by making better plans for our children, for their future, because if we plan for them and we prepare them for tomorrow, we increase their chances of succeeding in life. So anyways, I don't want this video to go on for too long. I would like for you guys to comment and let's make this a conversation. I would like for you guys to tell me what you think. How many children do you think is way too many children? And what is your own personal experience? Did you come from a big family? Did you have some of these experiences that I'm talking about? Have any of you had to work as a child to support your family? Have any of you had to drop out of school? I'd like for you guys to really share your experience. Let's discuss and let me know what you think. Anyway, this is your boy, the Umpire, signing out. See you in the next one. Ciao.